Hi, I'm Juhotep, the goddess astrologer and alchemical initiatrix. We're going to get into the astrology. This is the Light Goddess Astrology Daily for the 25th of May, 2022. And I'm going to share this chart with you and we're going to talk about it and pull some cards. So if you don't know, I pull cards and go over the energy in the astrology. I hope there's not a shit ton of background noise, but I really need to do this in here. So we have powerful day this week, powerful week this week, but a powerful day yesterday in the afternoon when Mars and the moon came into this conjunction together. Mars was moving from 29 degrees Pisces into Aries, its home. So really powerful when the moon and Mars are there together. It's not a common occurrence, and so the moon is fiery and wanting to take action, and in our emotions giving us the energy to work through our emotions and be in an emotional place that wants to take action and initiate our projects, everything in our sacred calling, the things that we've been understanding, the healing that's newly in place, and this new story that Jupiter has been wanting to put in place. And so Mars moved into Aries, its home sign, and it's moving towards this exact conjunction with Jupiter. So it's this fiery energy. It's this take action energy. It's this like, let's go, let's do something, let's be on the adventure. And moving towards Jupiter, it can expand that warlike energy or that energy of go, go, go so much that it can possibly be overwhelming. So it's something to be aware of. So for today, it's just this great, powerful energy to move forward on what you've been thinking about for a long time, because Mercury's been retrograde. So we've been going back over everything so that we could, and it has this opposition to the South Node. So we've been going back over everything in the past to see how we want to rewrite those stories for our empowerment and retrieve our power from the challenge, loss, and pain of the past, and also to understand where we stand now with present tense eyes looking at the past from this present moment. And so now it's like, we have this energy, we have this get up and go power, we have this desire and this force, this motivation behind us. Aries is this independent, headstrong, let's go, I'll bust through any obstacle, any block, I get knocked down, I just get back up, and let's grab the underdogs and let's go. It's that kind of energy, and it's moving into this conjunction with Jupiter, and the moon obviously is going to move off of that exact conjunction today and move through Aries this week. We have this Taurus moon at the end of the week, but we have this Aries moon. It's not the most amazing placement for the moon, but it is this more energy of I want to be in action and I want to be in that fire energy. We have to look at all of the zodiac is really realizing that some are meant to be cerebral and to understand our life, and some are meant to take the action and to move into the creation aspect of life, and some are meant to be in that emotional dreaming, imagining it all into being place, and then some are in the earthy grounding and holding the space place. So it's this beautiful energy of this fiery creation. It's the wands and tarot. It's the energy of happiness and joy and creating. And so this is such powerful energy. It's got a trine to the South Node. So it's like everything about the past is like, we can move forward now. We can release the old, and there's not anything from the past that we really need to hang on to, because we've been reviewing it. And Saturn has this square to the South Node. So Saturn's been saying like, let's really, Aquarius, like disconnect from everything in our past that doesn't serve our future, from anything that's not of our empowerment, of our enlightenment, of our higher frequency. And with Pluto having this sextile to Neptune, there's this talk about our power and the more darker sides of our nature and connection to soul and spirit, and how we transmute that, how we utilize it for learning and for understanding and growth, and how we heal anything that needs to be healed there. We have this Jupiter semi-sextile to Uranus that is this crunchy kind of vibe about what are we illuminating, what are we awakening to inside of ourselves, like what new ideas are coming up that we want to expand on and be on the adventure of. But it can be a challenge to want to be in the innovation and the new ideas and really get out of that familiar territory. But Uranus is pleading with us to get out of the familiarity and into what is innovative, ingenious, what is electric, and really just very much exciting and interesting, and holding our interest and our passion. One of the things is, like, we haven't had a lot of passion lately. We've kind of dropped off into some sort of just lagoon and been floating around, but it hasn't been like necessarily this passionate lagoon. And so with Venus here coming off this conjunction from Eris, the goddess of the goddess of power, standing in her power, of bucking the status quo, of saying, no, this isn't actually for humanity's best interest, and very assertive and affirmative, and understanding her power, owning it. And so with Venus coming off of that, Venus is the planet of I want and I desire, and pulling in what she desires. And so now we have all this Aries energy, fiery, independent, headstrong. And so we have to kind of be aware that the ego can be kicked up. And are we coming from the heart, or are we coming from the ego? Are we coming from the soul? And we have this Neptune and Pisces sextile to Mercury and Taurus. And it's very much, the mind is reviewing everything about our journey. Like, is it of the highest frequency? Is it of the highest of our soul? Is it coming from our ego and our wounds and the pain? Are we creating this new story, this new journey and adventure from what we want to live in the future? And are we healing the past? Like, everything we're looking at that's past, that's sad, hurtful, depressing, like, are we healing it? Are we only going into it to tie up those loose ends and to wrap up those stories and to do that healing work, to understand how we gain the lessons from that and move forward on that? And this Sun sextile Jupiter is this energy of expanding our curiosity, our interest, our playfulness, our energy, our youthful energy, our younger vibes, to be in our life at the highest. Black Moon Lilith in Gemini is saying, let's be truthful about where we have had power used over us, in the ways that we've utilized our power, and are we using it for good? And one of the biggest things is this Pluto trine to the Sun in the North, and Eros and Mercury and the North Node. It's this powerful time of so much churning up. There is shadow churning up, and there is pain churning up, and that is meant to be released. Anything that comes up is meant to be healed and released, and it has messages for us. And it's important to really ask, like, what is the message here? Because a message will be night and day from what your mind thinks it is. When you go into that emotion and you're real about it and you allow it to be there, you just allow the anger to be there for that moment and hold space for your own emotions, which is self-love. It is self-nurturing. It is how you heal. And when you do that and you ask, what is the message here for me from this fear, from this anger, from this doubt? The messages are way different, night and day different than you ever thought. And they're profound. And when you don't get those messages, you are leaving your own wisdom on the table that's from your soul. You're leaving everything that you've been through that's challenging, you're leaving it in the dust. You're not actually retrieving the beauty that you deserve to have from all the pain, loss, and challenge. And with Pluto and Aries, Venus and Aries being in this aspect of today, there is very much this energy of understanding that, you know, a Venus Pluto square is like, hey, we want to do what's really aligned to us creating something of value, creating a life that we really desire to live, like really being connected to the vision for our life, being connected to what brings us the highest joy. And so it's like about creating something that's more long lasting, because Pluto is long lasting. It takes 240 years for it to transit the sun. So, and to go through the whole zodiac. So it'll be in the house of your chart for 20 years. It's getting ready to go in my 12th house, and I'm not afraid of it. It was in my 11th house, and it meant that I didn't stand for the status quo. I was often the odd person out because I didn't go by these social rules just because everybody went by them. It's like, no, why are we going by this rule? What is it useful, and does it serve us, or is it just some status quo that's never been questioned? And so where's Pluto at in your chart? Really valuable information to have. And so with the square to Venus, it's like, hey, let's really take action, Venus, for what we want on something that has the depth of commitment to it for our life, for our vision, for what we really want to live, that has just the greatest meaning and brings so much meaning to our lives and so much impact. So I'm going to pull cards for us. It's a powerful week. It's a week of purging, and it's a week of so much energy finally coming in to pick us up out of the like lazy lagoon that we've been floating in, that really hasn't been that passionate, honestly. I think we've had so much shifting with the eclipses, and Monday we're going to have this new moon that's going to end this eclipse cycle, but we're in whatever was brought up by these two eclipses for you. This is what we're in for 6 months of what we're handling and clearing up. We have Manatili, she who remains. I love this card. Powerful, devotion, true worth. So she has a link. She stands in her power. Her hair is just amazing. It doesn't matter what's around her, which is like cold, ice. It's the snow, it's the frozen, it's the winter. It's like she remains. So through the dark moon phases of her life, the winter phases of her life, where we go into that fertile fallow time where we are integrating and recalibrating. So all of this beautiful energy can move, can be this potential kinetic, beautiful energy that we're going to move into action and creation and magic in our lives. And so it's like, no matter what happens, she remains, and she remains more powerful for what she's been through. She's not lessened or in detriment for the challenge, pain, and loss. She's more in her empowerment, and she gained the wisdom from it, and she gained more belief in the journey and process of her life. So where are you with, are there any blocks to really understanding challenge, pain, and loss in a way that helps you to be empowered? Or is it really taking you down? It's important. So we have Enchante, she who enfolds, swap, embrace, self-care. So it's really asking us that if there's a question about being empowered from the pain, loss, and challenge, it's time for self-care, nurturing, journaling, meditating, salt baths, walks in the woods, playtime, the things that resource you as a woman and refill your grail. If you're here as a man, thank you for being here. But that resource you from within. So what is that? And are you doing enough of that? What do you need right now? This is a powerful week to get all of the niggly things done, to prepare for your most massive, beautiful, focused, engaged creation. We have Perpetua, she who aches, sadness, solitude, silent with John. So it's like wherever those sadnesses are, we need to go in to release And do you have that skill set to release? That's what we do in Alchemical Goddess, my coaching program, where I do astrological shamanic coaching with divine feminine soulpreneurs, so that you learn those skills to release and to become masterful at your emotions, that your emotions aren't something to be feared, or they're not a problem. They're where your most intimate self-connection lies. And it's so valuable. And so we have Orchid, she who thrives. So it's like, what will it take for you to thrive in your emotional world, in yourself, in your life? Like, what needs to be cleared out? This is the week to do it. We have the help astrologically. I'm going to pull some other cards in this other deck. And thank you for being here. Please like this video because it will allow more women to find this work. We have the Fates. I had a feeling this card was going to come up. So there's much afoot behind the scenes, because this full moon lunar eclipse was very metaphysical. It was very behind the veils. It was very much spiritual churning, rewiring our insides, releasing weird pockets that our mind might think it's one thing we're healing. It's actually something completely different. And when that illuminates for you, when Mercury goes forward in June, and also with what's going to be coming up with Saturn going retrograde in June, which is going to be an interesting exchange, we're going to get so much understanding and information. And we are getting drip feed of it right now. We have so much understanding that has come in. And so we want to look at that and utilize it in our life, because this is a fated time. And so it's like, what do you not want to be a part of your story? What do you want to be a part of your story? And how can you clear everything out and bring those other things closer to you? Like what makes them bring, like, maybe you think you can't do something. Maybe there's options you haven't thought of. What if you just sit down and say, I am doing this? Maybe the creativity and the intuitive how-to will flow in, because we think we have to figure it out with the mind. We don't ever figure anything out. The mind only knows the past, and it just regurgitates it over and over and over again. It's like the mama feeding the baby bird. The mind, it just like regurgitates it over and over. So the mind has no new thoughts. It is your channel, your pure intuition from the divine that creates the how-to. So you have to get in that space. We got the self-care card to get in that space of receptivity so you can hear your channel. And for some people, that's not meditation. For some people, it's movement. It is the opposite. It is movement and like applying your mind to the movement you're doing. So when you're exercising, we have by the book in reverse. So it's saying that there are things that we need to really check in with our soul and seeing if we're playing by the book of our soul. Are we playing by the book of our heart? Like, what book are we playing by? Are we playing by somebody else's authority, or are we playing by our own authority? Because there's no authority that's over your own. People try to demur to people who have money, people who have a PhD, a doctor, a lawyer, some fake authority. They're not an authority over you. You might choose to pay your taxes because you don't want the consequence, but own that you're making a choice that is your choice and your freedom. You might want to stop at a stoplight because you choose that. I think it's actually great that we have stop signs, and you know, I don't want to be driving in Saudi Arabia where 12-year-olds have licenses and there's no traffic rules whatsoever, and who knows where's what's going any direction. So it's like, I like stop signs. No one's around, no camera, I'm going. But that's me, you know. So it's like, there's no authority over you. It's like, does this make sense to stop at a red light for 7 minutes when no one's coming on a desolate road? No. So, you know, it's like, those are, you know, small examples, but in the macro of your life, like, why are you following rules that you read in a book when that doesn't resonate with you and serve your life, when it's actually limiting you and holding you back? I did a great podcast episode that was up for yesterday, so you can check that out in the Light Goddess links below, where I'm talking about Malcolm Gladwell's book about 10,000 hours. I read it in like 2005. It was a great book at that moment in time, and I took it in, but to be honest, it really didn't motivate me. It was just this rule I put in my mind that I had to get 10,000 hours to be an expert at something. I was like, I need to hurry up and do this. It takes about 5 years, and it was anathema. No, you have to be this clear channel. The divine is what comes through you. That's what makes you an expert. Yes, we have to work at our craft and improve it, and time in is an aspect, but it's not the only aspect. it's really about being this pure channel. It's really about being aligned to spirit, to our divine. It's really about being purified of all of the ego running the show in our lives, or the womb running the show in our lives. That's what it's really about. So we want to look at what rules and authorities we're playing by. We have between worlds that we are going through so many changes, shifts. We're shedding so much shadow and so much old stuff, old stories that we're looking back at and retrieving our empowerment and our power from how we once narrated it. And so when those come up naturally, we don't have to go digging, but when they come up naturally, see how you want to re-narrate the past for your highest amount of power. Breath. So we are not really tapping into the quiet stillness within, to our intuition and our quiet inside of ourselves. We're too much in the mind. So breathing throughout the day, like really clicking into our guides, our angels, spirit, and our heart, and seeing what our heart has to say and what our heart's guiding. And maybe even like doing one of the exercises we do in Alchemical Goddess, sometimes I'll have my clients do this. I put a line down the paper and it's like, what's of ego, what's of heart? So we can start to really understand the difference between the two, because if you don't know what's running the show, we have observer. So yeah, it's about observing the thoughts, not being engaged with the thoughts, not believing the thoughts, not letting the thoughts convince you that whatever they're saying is truth. Because we have to realize that the so-called devil, which isn't real, but it's this thing we've kind of, this entity we've made real with humanity, basically by giving it so much time and energy and thought. But what it is it is all the fear thoughts that then start to make you act and behave in ways that aren't aligned to spirit and soul and heart. And so that's really what we want to get in there and see what's driving us, what's motivating us. I know for me, I've stripped away a lot of old motivations and I haven't really found the new ones yet. And I'm just in that in-between world personally for myself. So let yourself be in whatever in-between world you happen to be in, whatever that is for you. I'm sending you lots of love. I hope this video served you. Please like it so other women will find it. If you'd like to book an astrology consultation reading, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. I do card readings every day on my Instagram at Peace Hotep. I post my hand balancing, juggling, and some random things that are powerful. So you can find all the links there, really easy to find, or go to thegoddessastrologer.com. I am sending you lots of love, and I'll talk to you on the next The Light Goddess Astrology Daily.